I'm Timothy Vigil, and this is Just Another Word, the Word of the Day podcast for storytellers. Episode 27, Petrichor. A pleasant smell that frequently accompanies the first rain after a long period of warm, dry weather. On our journey through the alphabet, we talked about some big concepts. But great stories are often built on the microscopic level. So to make a world feel alive, you often have to bypass the audience's brain and go straight for their nervous system. So today we're starting a 5-part mini-series on the 5 senses. We're kicking it off with the sense that defines the air of your story: smell. And with the word, petrichor. It's easy as storytellers to say something like, "It smelled like rain." But I believe we can do better. We can evoke what it feels like to smell rain. And this is where petrichor comes in. The word petrichor was coined in 1964, so fairly modern, by 2 researchers, Isabelle Joy Baer and Richard Thomas. But it has ancient roots. These researchers named this word using 2 Greek structures. The first was petra, which means stone, and the second, ichor, which was the ethereal fluid that flowed in the veins of the gods. They created a word that literally means the blood of the stone, an idea that immediately evokes something in us, a sense of great wonder. On top of this powerful literal meaning, the word is phonetically brilliant. It starts with the soft, explosive P, like the first drop of rain hitting dust. But it ends with the hard, grounded core, like the ground that it's physically striking. It's not a fully onomatopoeic word, but its sound does evoke the feeling of rain falling. And so we see that both its meaning and its phonics are leading us to something that creates texture. And in narrative, this is so important, because scent is not just for description, it is for texture. This is so important because scent is the only sense that is tied directly to the amygdala, the part of the brain that handles memory and emotion. All of our other senses pass through filters before being processed by the amygdala. So the scent moving directly there creates a more rapid connection to memory for smells than for any of our other senses. You've likely smelled something randomly and all of a sudden been transported to another place and time. This happens with scent more frequently than anything else, and those memories are often much more vivid. This is a powerful thing to remember because this means when we use smell as a descriptor, we should be tying this to the memories of our characters. Maybe not every single time they smell something, but regularly. So when we use petrichor, we aren't just describing weather. There's more to it. We're describing relief. We're describing memory, and we are evoking for the reader a powerful reminder that the person experiencing this story has experienced things before. This sense has depth, and it creates depth as well as creating connection. But how do we actually use petrichor? There are 3 ways, and they all kind of tie together. The first is using the anticipation that petrichor comes with. We don't just want to use it when the rain starts. We can use it to build tension. Sometimes you can smell rain on the air well before it starts raining. Use this. Have a character smell the rain on the wind before the first drop falls. They can feel that petrichor, that coming. There is that sense of relief that is flooding them. The second way we can use petrichor is as a memory trigger. Because scent is so closely tied to memory, use petrichor to ground a character's internal monologue. Maybe the smell reminds them of a childhood summer or a funeral. We can use Petrichor to turn an environmental detail, the fact that it's raining, into an emotional beat, a connection to our character. The last way we can use Petrichor is via contrast. Petrichor is an earthy smell. It is the water hitting the ground. It is releasing something. It is a chemical reaction in our brain. It is a smell that evokes something very natural. So if we use this word, we use Petrichor, we evoke this earthiness inside of a sterile or urban environment, a character smelling Petrichor in a concrete city feels sudden. It feels sharp. It's a connection to the earth that can trigger a pivot in this character's perspective. This contrast allows us to get at something new. Now, it is difficult to use the word Petrichor specifically, or a word like Petrichor that people might know, in your prose without feeling like you're just showing off. But the reason that it works is because many readers have a sense of what you mean, even if they don't know the word exactly. Its Greek roots are not unknown to many readers. The word petra is well known, particularly for people who have studied Christian theology, which is going to be many more of your readers than you think. But even if they haven't, these roots are not unknown to us. And more than that, its emotional tone is known to nearly every single one of us. So, if you're worried about it, we can still use it, though. We can sprinkle the word into a sentence by using some context clues, like this. Thick raindrops hissed as they struck the sun-baked dirt road. A veil of steam rose from the ground, lifting the sharp, earthy scent of Petrichor to Alan's nose. For a fleeting second, an image of his father and a spiraling football flashed through his mind. Here, we get a sense of both the moment that is happening, the rain that is falling, and we get the character's depth. I've used the word, but I've given you context clues for you to understand what I mean when I use it. In the end, Petrichor reminds us that even the stones have a voice, if the conditions are right. It's a word of transformation. So, in your next draft, don't just tell us it rained. Don't just tell us what's happening. Tell us how the world smelled when it finally broke. Connect this to memory. Make us feel how the character is feeling when this is happening. You don't have to use the word Petrichor specifically. The idea is to remember how it evokes and see if you can create something as powerful through the movement of your own prose. Don't be afraid to use Petrichor, but don't feel like you have to use it either. Give your readers the blood of the gods and watch how quickly they start to believe in your world. I'm Timothy Vigil, and this has been Just Another Word. Happy writing.